You know that moment. Someone says something a little sad, a little disappointing, or honestly, just a little beautiful. And suddenly, your eyes are full. Not a soft mist, real tears. And everyone turns to look at you like you've overreacted. "Why are you crying?" they ask, like you're supposed to have a clean answer. Like it's something you could have just switched off. If you cry easily, you know exactly what I mean. You well up at a commercial, a song, a memory. Sometimes just the thought of something tender sets the whole system off. And you've spent years hearing the same lines on repeat. You're too sensitive. You take things too hard. Why can't you just hold it together? And at some point, quietly, you started to believe them. Here's the thing almost everyone gets wrong about people who cry easily. They think it's weakness. They think it means you're broken, unstable, that you can't handle real life. No. Neurologically, that is not what's happening. When you cry easily, it isn't that you're more emotional than everyone else. It's that your brain is processing emotion differently. Your nervous system is simply tuned to a different frequency. Think of it like this. Most people have an emotional threshold. A certain amount of input has to hit the system before the tears come. For you, that threshold sits lower. And here's where it gets interesting. That's not a flaw. That's a feature. Researchers call it heightened emotional sensitivity, and it's tied to mirror neuron activity. Your brain runs more of these mirror neurons, the cells behind empathy, behind emotional resonance. So you don't just watch emotion, you feel it. When someone near you is hurting, your nervous system registers it almost like it's happening to you. When something matters, your whole body answers. While other people pick up the basic signal, you catch all of it, the nuance, the quiet frequencies underneath that most people never hear. And people who cry easily are usually people who feel deeply, not because they're fragile, but because their brains are wired for a deeper kind of processing. You notice things other people miss. You can tell when someone's lying, even when they hide it well. You feel unfairness a little sharper. You feel joy louder. Here's the origin story nobody tells you. Most people who cry easily didn't come by this wiring at random. Maybe you grew up somewhere emotions weren't safe to show, so your system learned to feel it for everyone. Maybe you had a parent who was unpredictable, so you became fluent in mood, reading the room the second you walked in. Maybe you lost someone young, and your brain filed that away under "this matters, feel it." Your nervous system didn't malfunction, it was trained. You learned that paying close attention to emotion, yours and everyone else's, was the safest way to move through the world. Your threshold dropped. Not because something's wrong with you, but because at some point, feeling deeply was how you stayed safe. Now here's the part that stings. When people see you cry, they don't understand that you're not falling apart. You're connecting. You're having a real response to something that actually matters. But the world taught you to read that as weakness. So, you apologize. Sorry for being emotional. Like your ability to feel is something you're supposed to keep on a leash. But it isn't. You're not too much. It's your brain registering something as meaningful and answering honestly. And in a world that keeps getting colder, that's closer to a superpower. You're the one who notices when someone's quietly struggling. You remember the small things. You can sit with a person in their sadness without rushing to fix it. That's rare. That's worth something. But here's what I need you to really hear. Feeling deeply does not mean you have to carry everyone. Just because your nervous system is built to detect pain doesn't mean you're required to absorb it. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to have big feelings. But you're also allowed to have limits. You're allowed to say, I care about you, but I can't hold your weight right now. You're allowed to step back from things that are too heavy. You're allowed to protect your own nervous system. Because as real as your capacity to feel is, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you cry easily, your feelings are not a character flaw. They're proof that your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do, registering meaning, processing depth, tying you to the people around you. Your tears aren't weakness. They're a window into how deeply you experience being alive. And in a world starving for more empathy, more presence, more real connection, that is exactly what we need. So you're allowed to feel it. You're allowed to set down the heavy shield you've carried for so long. You've held it long enough. You can rest